Hi, I'm Kath from Raising Happy Chickens, and on today's Chicken Chat, we'll be looking at when's the right time to put your baby chicks outside with the big girls. So your baby chicks are growing up. If you've had them in your house, there will come a time when you feel that it's time for them to go outdoors. But when's the right time? When is it safe for them? Well, there are two things that you need to consider. Firstly, we need to look at their feathering. And secondly, we need to look at where exactly they are going to go. And we need to plan for that. Let's start by looking at the feathering. Chicks are hatched, of course, with that cute fluffy down that we all know and love. But that cute fluffy down does nothing at all to keep them warm, or in fact, to help them when it's hot to cool down. So you need to wait until your chicks have feathers. How long does that take? It depends on the breed. I've had feathers starting to come in at about 7 or 8 days old, and others that haven't started before 2 or 3 weeks. The first feathers that come are likely to be the wings, and the chicks then start to use these to learn to fly. It's at that point that you may well start thinking it's really time for these chicks to go outside. But you need to wait until the chick is almost or completely covered with feathers. It's that will help them deal with the elements, whether that's the heat or the cold. How old will they be when that happens? Again, it very much depends on the breed. I've had chicks who've been ready to go out at about 7 or 8 weeks. But by and large, my chicks don't go outside until they're about 12 weeks old. That might seem a long time to you, but better that than have your chicks perish from the cold or indeed from the heat. So now let's move on to looking at planning and where the chicks are going to go. So the time's come that your chicks need to go in with the big girls. How do you do that? It's really important that this is managed properly, because adult chickens have, as you will know, a pecking order. And the pecking order can mean that chickens are bullied, and bullied severely. If you put chicks into the run with the big girls without planning and preparation, it's highly likely that they will actually be killed, which sounds awful, but chickens, delightful as they are, can be real bullies. How do you prepare then? Well, it's quite easy if you've got a large chicken coop, a walk-in coop for example. All you need to do is arrange some chicken wire to fence off part of the coop. The idea is that the chicks should be seen and heard by the rest of the flock, and should be able to see and hear the rest of the flock in return, so they get used to each other. They can see, they can hear and smell each other, but they can't actually touch, and that's the important bit. If you have a big enough run, it's a good idea to get a completely separate coop for the chicks when they first go outside. I have two. One is a fairly small igloo, which I use if I have 6 or 7 baby chicks to mix in with the rest of the flock. The second I have is a wooden chicken house, which I place inside a run, inside my big run, so they're doubly protected. Now, I'm very lucky to have that, and not many people do. But you need to find some way of keeping the big adult chickens away from your baby chicks, and you need to plan this well in advance. While your chicks are in the brooder, start planning it. Don't leave it until the day before that you think the chicks need to go out. When's the right time to mix the two flocks together? Well, this will depend almost entirely on the size of your chicks. It would be a huge mistake to put tiny baby chicks in with the big flock, because they will simply be pecked. And if they're not killed, they'll be very seriously injured, so don't do it. Wait till your chicks are almost as big as the big girls, and then mix the two flocks. So that brings us to the next question. How do we mix the two flocks? Well, that's pretty straightforward, really. The way I do it, at least, is to wait until everybody's roosted. When the adults are roosted, they'll be pretty sleepy. It will be dark, hopefully, outside, and chickens really can't see well in the dark. So, one by one, lift your chicks onto the roost in between the big girls. You're likely to find, and I've found this in all the chicks I've ever mixed in with the big girls, that there won't be any trouble at night. And by the morning, somehow, everybody just seems to be used to each other. So they get down from the roost and they will start going about their daily business as they always would. You'll probably find that your baby chicks tend to stick together for a while, and that's only natural. They know each other, they've grown up with each other, they trust each other, and they will look out for each other. Will there be any pecking? There may well be. The pecking order has to be re-established when new chicks or chickens are introduced to your flock. So I hope this session of Kath's Chicken Chat has been useful for you. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next session. In the meantime, take care, and may all your chickens be happy ones.